Mark Davis come out after the match, put a beating on Will Ospreay. Tony Khan put the rocket on Mark Davis and is well deserved, man. He's like the new enforcer of the Don Callis family. Next, you got Alex Winsler and Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale comes out on top. Oh, I love the BBWs! Willow Nightingale might be one of the best TBS champions of all time, man. Week in, week out, she's holding it down on the pre-show, on the main show, Dynamite Collision. She's all over the place. She successfully defends the TBS championship, and I don't think she needs to drop the title anytime soon. Last but not least, we got the match we all know what happened. MJF, Darby Allin. Darby Allin beats MJF. It's not the worst. God, I can't even say that, bro, because I hate this decision, bro. Tony Khan, I'm usually a big fan of all of his booking, dog, for the most part. This one, I just don't like. I don't feel. You got AEW sickos that's saying, oh, man, remember when MJF did this to Darby Allin 4 years ago, and then come back, Darby Allin did this to him in 2020? No. What about MJF momentum, bro? What about the stories being told? If you're going to do this, I don't think it's the right decision. But at the very least, you needed a good match. Why did he have to get squashed? I don't think that does nothing for Darby Allin, bro. Darby Allin, he done fought tooth and nail to get to the top of AEW. He could have had one match. He could have went 15 or 20 minutes with MJF just to get it out the mud, just to tell the story for the fans, bro. You could have gave the fans one last ride with Darby Allin. He could have had like a bunch of near falls, just anything. But just basically hand him a title because he climbed Mount Everest and he's one of the AEW pillars. And oh, Tony Khan does everything perfect. He doesn't. Tony Khan been cooking. He's been on fire. This one just bricked, if you ask me. But let me know in the comments what y'all think about that. Friday, we got Crackdown. Oh, yeah. We also got the live. I'm supposed to be going live with C-Jax sometime Thursday. Just make sure y'all stay updated on the community posting the updates on that. We might be going live around 4 or 5 p.m. So, yeah, just make sure y'all stay up on updates on that. We'll be going over WrestleMania 40 Snooze Night 1 and Night 2. Crackdowns Friday. Raw's Monday. My boy Bobby Monsoon is working overtime this week, but it's okay. I gotta do it for the chat. Got to do it for the chat, man. We got some special things coming to the channel. I told y'all that. So, you know what I mean? Just stay tuned on that. And, you know what I mean? We working overtime, y'all. Let me know how y'all feel about the Darby Allin situation. Let me know how y'all feel if y'all going to be on WWEshop.com and putting your bid in for a casket that you could put somewhere in your room. Let me know how y'all feel about everything that's going on. It's Bobby Monsoon, 215. Like, comment, subscribe. Blah!
Folks, we have a real problem with this OS age verification thing. So there's a federal law now, and I was just going to keep quiet until things got to this point, and they've gotten to this point. And I think it's really important that I emphasize that verification is the key word here. If the OS just asked you, oh, what age bracket are you in? All the teens that want to look at naked ladies are just going to punch in, oh, I was born January 1st, 1980. Whatever. Done. Thanks. I've got full access to everything. So now the federal law and some of these state laws have wording that requires actual reasonable or commercially reasonable verification is the phrase that I've seen. And there's a cautionary tale from the early 2000s about this. A guy who writes for one of those PC magazines back in the 2000s, so this was a long time ago, but this is after Windows XP introduced product activation, either online or by telephone, for Windows XP, and then subsequently Office 2003. Well, take a wild guess what happened. This guy, he's going to work on an article on his flight across the country. He gets up in the air. He's 30,000 feet in the air. There's no such thing as in-flight Wi-Fi. And he goes to open his laptop and type his article, and Office deactivates. Now he can't type his article. So he was unable to work on his article for this long-distance flight, pretty much hosing all of the utility that he had because Office 2003 could not phone home to some Microsoft server and get permission to let the journalist type his article about computer whatever back then. So he actually instead wrote an article about what happened with that. That's what's going to happen with age verification. The problem a lot of people have today is internet access is so ubiquitous, especially high-speed access, in so many areas that people kind of get lazy and stupid.
TNT and HBO Max.
This contest at one fall is for the TBS Championship. Introducing the challenger from Durham, North Carolina, Camille.
Camille, who made a devastating return.
Long Island, New York. She is the TBS champion, the face of TBS, the babe with the power, Willow Nightingale.
For a tall order for Willow.
On Sunday, attacking.
To find retailers or hobby shops for near you. AEW stores now.
Wow. And that See, and that's what power gets you. A normal. It just falls straight down.
Dynasty targeting the champion Willow Nightingale, and thus far it has been all Camille in this TBS Championship title match.
That was the first time that straight pump kick from Camille did not work.
fires back, powerful left. Willow now takes Camille off her feet.
But Camille right back up.
The comeback killer. Here she comes.
Pounce!
She's got her arm clutched to her side, but that's not stopping her. Look at that cannonball in the corner.
Into the left shoulder, Brian. I think that's why Willow was only clutching Camille. Willow tries to steady herself, but come.
And he's been attacking. Strategy. And the way that she's been attacking Willow's shoulder has been nothing short of excellent.
Willow, the backslide, the stack, and go!
Here's your winner and still TBS champion, Willow Nightingale.
Willow Nightingale just barely pulling out the victory here tonight, defending.
What a great victory for our great friend. Don't you agree, Star? いや、あいつまた運だけで勝ち上がったな。私んと。
TNT and HBO Max.
This contest, number one fall, is for the TBS Championship. Introducing the challenger from Durham, North Carolina, Camille.
Camille, who made a devastating return.
Champion, the face of TBS, the babe with the power, Willow Nightingale.
Oh, a tall order for Willow. Camille fires back, powerful left. Willow now takes Camille.
Here she comes.
Pounce!
She's got her arm clutched to her side, but that's not stopping her.
Willow tries to steady herself, but
Strategy. And the way that she's been attacking Willow's shoulder has been nothing short of excellent.
Willow, the backslide, the stack, and go! Willow Nightingale just barely pulling out the victory here tonight, defending.
Willow Nightingale, what a great day. 西野ハーレーより tomorrow night. Ah, can't wait. So, see you there.
about it. They don't actually think about the fact that, hey, wait a minute, I'm filming this April 15th, tax day of 2026, but back February 20th, this is only not even 2 months ago. Cloudflare had a hiccup, which, by the way, was caused by rewriting it in Rust. But Cloudflare had a major hiccup that caused a huge portion of the internet to just go out. So guess what happens if you have a device that requires age verification, not asking you, but actually verifying that you're not lying about your age, which probably means turning over your driver's license, having some AI face scanner capture a 3D scan of your face, things like that. Guess what happens when those servers go down because some guy at Cloudflare rewrote it in Rust? Your phone doesn't work anymore. Your computer doesn't work anymore until Cloudflare gets their stuff together and the third-party provider is actually able to provide their services again. Guess what happens if you have a hiccup with, say, your phone billing, or your SIM card goes out, or any number of other things? Oh, we can't reach the server. I guess you can't use your phone. You can't even look at your own pictures because we can't make sure that you're old enough to use the app on your phone, and there could be pictures in there that you're not supposed to see, so whatever. The quagmire is so deep. And mind you, this is not a political video at this point. This is a pure technological point of failure warning. I warned you a long, long time ago that Windows 11 must be stopped. And that video really was sort of a stealth offering of the entire history of the Trusted Platform Module and the Trusted Computing Group, TCPA and Palladium, and all this stuff that's been in the works since the early 2000s, where they're trying to lock down your devices and control them and be able to trust the device against the user rather than the user being the one in control of security and trust on their own purchased, owned hardware. Now, there are arguments to be made for First and Fourth Amendment violations here, but I'm going to avoid that for right now and just point out the obvious. Internet connectivity is not reliable. If you think it is, you're wrong. Because if if it works for you 99% of the time, there's that 1% of the time. And it doesn't take very long for you to be disconnected, for you to realize, oh wait, this is actually really inconvenient. All of a sudden, I can't do a bunch of things. In fact, here's what I want you to do. This video is a call to action for all of you. On your phone, put your phone in airplane mode with no Wi-Fi connection. On your tablet, same thing. On your laptop or your desktop or whatever, unplug the Ethernet cable or unplug the modem. In fact, if you're at home, unplug the power to your modem and or router. If you're on your phone, put it in airplane mode. Now, if you've unplugged your internet modem and router, and you've put all your devices in airplane mode so they're not connected to a cellular network, now try to do something. Try to do something that you think you should be able to do offline. Anything that you can't do right now with this disconnected state, you don't own. It is not actually yours. It's controlled by someone else. It's controlled by a third-party service. It's reliant on a third-party service. We have grown far too accustomed to the convenience of essentially always on, high-speed, ubiquitous internet access, but it is not 100% reliable. And if something bad happens somewhere, like Cloudflare just has an embarrassing fart, and suddenly all their servers just stop serving, which happened 2 months ago, I will remind you, yeah, you're locked out. What good is it? What good is any of this crap? Look at all this stuff behind me. What good is any of this stuff if it requires an internet connection and I'm here in an unpowered storage unit? The answer is it's not. It's complete and total garbage. These are very, very fancy bricks, and that's all there is to it. If it requires an internet connection and you don't have one, it is nothing more than a pebble. And that's the ultimate problem with OS age verification laws, is that the verification part requires access to a third-party service, and that third-party service is a point of failure. You need to think about the points of failure for things in your life, because if they fail, how royally screwed are you? That's really important. And too many people just never even think about it. They go about their day going, oh, everything will be fine. But as soon as Congress gets some law passed that says your phone has to verify that you are the age you say you are, suddenly now, if Cloudflare has a cough, it's not that, well, you can still do all your offline things. No, now you're not even allowed in because merely using the device at all requires verification. Now, just to make this worse, what is an operating system? See, my phone has an operating system, but here's where we have a problem, okay? My cameras have an operating system. My car, the head unit has one operating system. The engine control unit has another. The RAID controller in a server has an operating system. The network card has an operating system. That's what firmware is. It is a specialized operating system that runs on that device. Almost every piece of equipment that has a chip that does anything other than dumb Boolean logic has an operating system on it. Technically, a lot of these laws make you in violation if you sell someone a network card or a RAID controller or even a hard drive. Hard drive controllers have operating systems on them. And you, as a vendor of a hard drive or an SSD controller, whatever, are in violation of the law simply by selling me a drive and not having that drive, which has no method of input and output other than the motherboard talking to it, by the way. If that drive can't verify my age, then it's not supposed to be providing any information to me. So I'm really tired of people who don't even remotely understand technology, making laws and regulations and rules that define how we use technology. It really just has to stop because this stuff is ridiculous. I mean, anybody who has used a computer and has had an internet connection drop can understand why this is really, really unfathomably stupid. It just doesn't make any sense. The problem is it makes a lot of sense to this, for some reason, bipartisan bills everywhere, unanimous votes in favor everywhere, awfully suspicious to me, to be perfectly honest. But for some reason, it makes sense to all these people. Yet, if you actually put it into practice, it makes no sense whatsoever. There is no way that it can be enforced without completely wrecking everything that you think is convenient about your device. So yeah, take this warning how you will, but I'm done. I'm going to tell you right now, any of this operating system law crap, I'm simply never going to comply with it. I'll work around it. I'll hack it. I'll provide hacks to anybody else who also happens to want to work around it, because when something is this fundamentally broken and foolish, you are obligated to not comply with it. This is like the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, except the dinosaurs are the ones launching the asteroid, and they're launching it at everybody else. And you know the worst part? The people who are passing these laws are probably the ones that are going to be the most affected by it. Because as soon as they get on a plane or they go vacation somewhere that's away from all of us, not, amazingly wealthy, prestigious, that out of their inner circle, their nifty little secluded cabin in the mountains, and they have an internet access issue, they won't be able to make phone calls. They won't be able to get on the internet through their phone because they'll need to do age verification stuff, and there's no signal out there, so they do everything through an internet connection. They're going to get hit with it, and it'll be way too late by then. They will have already laid the infrastructure to hose everything. This is just like the breathalyzer in cars thing, which is a very grossly unproven technology, yet for some reason Congress says, oh no, we definitely need to put that in cars. Well, if you're in trouble, you need to be able to get in your car and leave even if you're drunk. Like if guys are chasing you and they're going to hurt you, you need to leave. And you don't need your car to say, I'm sorry, Dave, but I can't do that. Now get beaten to death. It's just, I got to be honest, and sometimes I think these people just hate you, hate all of us. Because if you think these things through to their logical conclusions, there's no other way to feel about this. I think they hate us. I really do. And the worst part is they don't realize that they're taking this, for lack of a better analogy coming to the top of my head, they're taking this shotgun that they're pointing at us, and they don't realize that it's like some kind of 180-degree wide field shotgun they've invented that's going to shoot everybody in the foot, not just us. They're going to get it in the foot just as bad. I don't understand. But, maybe the problem is that maybe they're being paid by somebody else to not understand. I have no idea. I'll leave that exercise for you, the viewer, to think through and figure out. But purely from just a reliability perspective, an uptime perspective, just being able to use something that you quite literally pay for and own perspective, this OS age verification stuff is beyond a disaster. It's like a nuke just being dropped into the world of technology, and the world's run by technology. This will not end well. I really do not like seeing people go through this stuff. I don't know. Too many people suffer at the hands of fools that make bad rules, that don't understand what they're dealing with before they go flipping switches or pulling the pins out of the grenades going, oh, now it works! Boom! I have to go. It's just, whatever. Let me know how the Intel Management Engine's Minix operating system is going to verify my age, okay? Considering it operates pre-boot. I'd love to know that. Yeah, let me know, all right? I gotta go. Bye.
Honestly, we give IGN so much flack for their coverage of gaming, and rightfully so, obviously. They constantly lie, they constantly try to berate us, tell us what we should believe, what we should like, and whatnot. The last time IGN gave a good game a good grade was, I honestly don't even remember when. But everyone remembers that IGN gave Dragon Age Veilguard a 9 out of 10. Dustborn probably was an 8 out of 10. Highguard was the next upcoming Game of the Year award for them. While actually good games that the gamers love, adore, and want to play like Clair Obscure or Crimson Desert are pretty much just getting 6s across the board. Now, obviously, the meme is that the IGN 6 out of 10 is the next GOTY pretty much always, which is true for the most part. But it's understandable that we hate IGN. They hate us at the end of the day. But I do think that we forget about one very, very important thing in the gaming sphere, boys. And that is PC Gamer. Low-key, I truly believe PC Gamer does not get enough flack for their decision-making. Yeah, sure, IGN is the one best known for being against gamers, while pretending that they are for us. But PC Gamer is a completely different beast. I honestly think PC Gamer is definitely the unsung hero of the completely corrupt gaming journalism world. And yeah, PC Gamer is not known for giving the worst of the worst games, the Concords, the 10 out of 10 that they so much deserve, obviously. And they are not known for giving actually great games like Black Myth Wukong 5s or 6s or 4s. But man, I do think PC Gamer is definitely a special kind of special. PC Gamer will come out with the absolutely most unhinged articles ever. They do this constantly, I swear. When Path of Exile 2 came out and became popular, they were running defense for Diablo 4 constantly. They made articles like, Diablo 4 is so much better because of the itemization. What itemization, you idiots? That was before even the itemization rework. Diablo 4 is so much better because the items look so much cooler. The gameplay is better. And they did so much. PC Gamer, they have a talent, okay? They have an absolute triple S grade talent when it comes to... If you can think of a subject that every gamer in the world agrees upon that something is good, PC Gamer will already have 2 or 3 articles saying how that's the worst thing in the world. My god, they are experts at this. And today, I think they outdone themselves this time. Oh boys, this one is about Crimson Desert. And I mean, you probably already read the title while I was yapping, but my god, does it get worse, boys. It's been a month since a release, and I'm still not sure if Pearl Abyss knows what it wants Crimson Desert to be. I'm pretty sure only you don't know what Crimson Desert is supposed to be. You absolute pile of geese. Disgusting. But I mean, again, this is PC Gamer. They definitely deserve to be contenders for the worst journalists right there alongside with IGN. And in this case, I do think they're actually worse than IGN. Player base says jump and Pearl Abyss says how high. Yes, trust me, when we're going to get deeper in this article, you're going to be mind blown about the logic or absolute lack of logic that these people have. But yes, here they are literally implying that Crimson Desert somehow is bad because it does this crazy thing called adding stuff and doing things that the player base wants. How dare they? Because let's be real, every modern day AAA garbage company that deserves to go bankrupt, your Ubisofts, your Blizzards, your Xbox Gaming, your everything, they never listen. They never listen to the players. In fact, they do the opposite that players want. And Crimson Abyss, Pearl Abyss, they're daring to do this crazy thing is listen to the players and add things and fixes and stuff that they want. And again, if this alone doesn't seem completely crazy and out of touch to you, it's gonna get better, okay? Okay, because there's actual this rare thing called justification for reasoning in this article, which is probably the dumbest thing ever. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering how Crimson Desert is doing, it's doing good, okay? Never broke the 276k player peak, which was, at this point, I think, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, and Crimson Desert has honestly been almost on the market for almost a month now. And honestly, while the drop-offs are definitely here, the recent drop-off from the Sunday to Monday Fun Day has been pretty intense. But overall, Crimson Desert still has a notably above 1/3 of its player base. Actually, this is way more close to 50% than 1/3. So that is actually really good, because you can remember which game held player base this strongly while it was a single player experience, not a multiplayer, but a single player one. That's right, it was Baldur's Gate 3, a certified IGN 7 out of 10. I also remember the PC Gamer had some stupid article about Baldur's Gate 3 also, about something about being sexism or whatever. Leave it to those idiots to find it, whatever. But I mean, it released, and look at that, 1 month in. Now, granted, obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 fall off was way smaller than, you know, Crimson Desert's, but still, Crimson Desert is more akin to the success of Baldur's Gate 3 than anything else. So, you know, maybe this pandering to what people want is working out for them. Shocker, I know. I mean, you only have problems figuring this out if you're a game journalist at the end of the day, right? Nothing has made it more obvious that Crimson Desert is a single-player game. I think the fact that it's a single-player game was evident by the fact that it's a single fucking player game, dude. Okay. Created by an MMO developer, then it's Pat Cadence and Rapid Evolution. What Rapid Evolution? I'm sorry. Has Crimson Desert evolved? Not really. In this month, the game has changed so much in little under a month. Has it? Has it really changed that much? I think most people would firmly disagree with this, as Pearl Abyss has pumped out an absurd number of updates. Yes. Update your game and make it better that people like it. Bad. We really don't hate game journalists enough, do we? We really don't hate PC Gamer enough, do we? Again, IGN is the known one, but PC Gamer is worse in so many ways than IGN, honestly. Quality of life changes, bug fixes, implementing new features, stuff that I would expect to arrive weeks or months post-launch has instead been patched into the game within mere days. This is portrayed as a bad thing, by the way. This is portrayed as a bad thing. And it is a bad thing for all of these websites, all these game journalists and whatnot. Because of the very simple thing that, I mean, if you look at any other AAA company, Bethesda, they update Starfield like once a year, and the update is usually 3 lines of text. All of these companies fail to update their games fast enough. They literally take months to implement basic things, to make basic changes that everyone asks for. Well, Pearl Abyss is doing that, and well, they have done most of it in literal days since launch. The first major upgrade to controls and whatnot. How, did that take like 2 days or 1 day or 3 days after launch? It was very quick. And of course, these people think that that's a bad thing, because Pearl Abyss is just showing how incompetent other companies are, and PC Gamer needs those companies to be loved. I'm complaining to my Crimson Desert review. It's a review, huh? I'm not. Actually, how much did you give it? 8 out of 10. Fear. Absolute fear. About the lack of storage, and 4 days after release, boom, private storage chest. Players complained about the chest's location and only took a few more days after that for it to move somewhere else. It's just one example of how many nips and tucks Pearl Abyss has made to Crimson Desert, in what I can only assume is an attempt to respond to players' feet. No, they did this randomly. You know what? Bro, you read this and you need to understand. The person writing this is currently getting confused that a games company is responding to the wants and wills of the gamers. There's no other way to interpret this. This person is getting confused that Pearl Abyss is actually responding to what players want and doing this. And this person is getting mad. Mad for some reason. As quickly and frequently as possible. It's net positive overall. The fact that he even calls it net positive is honestly probably made him physically ill. For sure, the company cries out against something abrasive or frustrating, and the developer quickly fixes it up. It's something that I should wholeheartedly be here for, but he's not for some reason. The game's easier to play, it's less frustrating, and it's far more pleasant overall experience. That's a win, right? Like, this person even understands that he should be happy about this, but for some reason, he is not. Truly a miracle things. All of these rapid changes have me wondering what the developer's vision for the game was in the first place. Did Pearl Abyss want it to be unforgiving Souls adventure experience before it neutered the difficulty and more recently introduced difficulty sliders? You can't make this up. The game gets better. The developers are fixing the game where they feel it's necessary, how they feel it's necessary to accommodate more people, to make it more likable. And this person is like, did they actually want to make Crimson Desert in the first place? Why are they making changes now? They should keep the bugs because the bugs were the part of their vision. Was its original decision to offer no storage options a deliberate one, guided by some ethos or overreaching plan on how plan for how initially obtuse or frictious it should be, or was it simply a wild oversight driven by assumptions that expanding inventory throughout a myriad of side quests would simply be enough? Like, what are these questions? It's insane. Again, PC Gamer does not get enough hate. Why this pull here? Crimson Desert is not an AR field. That's a good comment. I know what I want it to be, cheaper on Steam, so the same price as the PC5 version on physical media, which should cost more. The player base says jump and Pearl Abyss says how high. Oh, the whole... He understands. Developers that actually listen to player feedback. The game sales aren't slowing down. This is how it works. So let me get this straight. You're painting devs actually listening to the things that players want for people who are actually playing for the product and changing things and made it more successful as a bad thing. Exactly. I did not read the comments. I did not even know that this site has comments. But I am extremely happy, honestly, to see that it seems like pretty pat yourselves on the back, boys, because we were right once again. 2 years ago, we made a prediction that the next big franchise that's gonna go irredeemably woke is gonna be either Warhammer 40k or God of War. And, well, Honestly, Warhammer is trying really, really hard with all of their changes to find this modern female audience that obviously exists for it. I'm sure Games Workshop will not regret this decision in the slightest at any point. No, seriously, they won't. These people never admitted they're wrong. Oh, but here we are once again. God of War is completely cooked. Now, we talked about this a little bit before, but here it is. The new God of War spin-off game. Freya is the new main character. May include Tyr as other protagonists. Kratos makes an appearance, of course he does. Multiple mythologies, Norse, Mayan, and East Asian lore, Chinese, Japanese elements confirmed by the latest reports, possibly revealed this month. We knew that this is going to happen. We already had leaks about this previously, but now we have more information on how bad this is. Okay? I'm not sure a lot of you are ready to know how absolutely over it is for God of War, but it was already over for a long time, honestly. So first of all, the fact that this game is gonna implement a Norse, Mayan, Eastern Asian, and other types of mythologies is just the ultimate level of inclusivity. God of War was not exactly super contained, but at least it was meant to be a little bit cohesive. But now they're gonna include everything because you cannot include you can't exclude anyone. This is a fundamentally extremely woke approach to doing these things. And if you're thinking I'm reaching, boys, do I make these videos unprepared? Do I not look into the studios with what's happening with their histories? You know it's coming. You know it's gonna be shit. You know it's gonna be bad. Anyway, this all comes essentially from an article from PM First, and this article is honestly, who cares? It's been 4 years since Santa Monica Studios has released God of War Ragnarok, and since then the studios has kept silence on what they're working on. Well, this part actually matters a lot because what they worked on and dropped recently, the most recent, was God of War Sons of Daedem. That's right, this game was a money grab, effectively. It wasn't super woke, but it was. But mostly it was just a money grab. They tried to sell this as a co-op experience. And you needed to pay extra for the co-op experience, and they never tell you so. So, that is hilarious. Oh, my barber just sent me a text. Oh, shit, I can't make it then. Oh, no, boys, listen. There's no do. The do's not coming. Anyway, back to Sons of Daedem, because you know the word son is toxic to these people. So the big thing is, this is made by Santa Monica Studios. Santa Monica Studios, mostly known for being the idiots who actually gave everyone's favorite Alan Pierce a job, which is the dumbest idea ever. But anyway, this studio is absolutely amazing. Get ready. This is who Santa Monica Studios are. Get to know who we are. Just in case you were wondering, and this picture was not completely enough to know that you are gonna be sent by HR for emotional training and demasculation and a little bit of estrogen injections if you're being especially naughty, because my god. Who we are. Our studio is composed of groups of diverse, ambitious, highly collaborative creatives who empower one another. The most beautiful sentence that tells you literally everything you need to know and more. Whoever is putting money into this is effectively just feeding a bottomless pit at this point, while working as a team to deliver high-quality, narrative-driven PlayStation experiences. We originally spanned the globe from Brazil to Poland. to small town USA. We are home to over 250 world class, mostly female. They didn't say that, but I inserted that there because of reasons. Class developers who strive to push the medium towards with every creative decision. Bravo, bravo. Diversity is truly our strength, you chuds. Obviously. There's a bigger picture. I mean, you can find some white men who all seem to be extremely demasculated at this point. I mean, look at this dude right here. The I am harmless, please do not report me to HR stance. Here we see his colorful, but too probably a white person. They also, there's a reason they took this in black and white, okay? They couldn't probably find enough diversity hired blacks. That's the reality of it, okay? Another one of the I am afraid to be here poses. By the way, if you did not know, doing this with your hand, like holding yourself, is self-soothing behavior. Which means these people were stressed the fuck out doing this picture because they probably thought they're gonna be this man right here in the middle. Hands in, fake smile, looking upward, completely does not want to be a threat in the slightest. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. What else can I honestly say to you? We try to make people feel like family. Doesn't seem to me like that, but okay. As quickly as possible. Oh yeah, because, you know, being a part of the family requires to be fast, okay? You need to be, okay, you're gonna come here and work, but before that, you already need to become part of our family. Run away from any place that tries to sell you but we're family, we need to do shit for ourselves and help get them accommodated to our projects. What projects? Well, what projects? Did I close the thing? I closed it. But Santa Monica Studios has done literally nothing noteworthy except hire Alana Pierce and make God of War games. That's it. They have kind of done some games on the side, which are literally called Fat Princess. I did not look into it now, obviously. I did not look in, so I can't tell you more. But, you know, stuff like that, so I guess this is absolutely great. Then you have the colorful thingamaj. Kill me now! Can I click on this? No. We can apply, boys. We can apply. Yeah, you absolutely just gotta love it. What is this? Explore. August 2007 award-winning games. Oof, oof, oof. Is this all old shit? Yeah, it is all old shit. Well, what is this? Everybody's gotta gone to the rapture. Oh, I have heard about this, I think. Wow, they have done so many beautiful things, obviously. What a time to be alive. Yeah, nothing that you probably honestly care about too much. All of this is like old stuff. Jesus. Wow, that is not good. Let's click on the support to see what we can see here. Select your product. Yeah, you have 3 products: Ragnarok, God of War, and God of War Sons of Daedam. Oh, that does not bode well. In any case, also, this is how your new character is gonna look like. Now, we can tell that she's a woman, but I mean, barely. What, did you actually expect that you're gonna be a strong heroine? No. You're gonna be a strong girl boss that already was perfect all along. You just needed to believe in yourself, obviously. Also, I did look into how this particular Norse mythology god was supposed to look like, and I didn't find an exact, I didn't find anything that people were 100% sure on, but it wasn't like this, okay? We had a blonde woman in some representations, and some representations, this is an ice giant, by the way, question mark. At least some people say that she could be potentially a nice giant, which is very interesting, but not the point of this discussion, at least. And I mean, it doesn't look good, okay? Also, what's with the Valkyries? They look a little bit non-white. Anyway, that's it. This is as cooked as it gets, boys. It's her story now. Anyway, have a nice day. Bye.
Hello everybody, James here. Yes, it's my third video of the day. There's a lot of news, what can I tell you? Anyway, Nick Khan, president of WWE and TKO board member, gave a talk at the SBJCAA World Congress of Sports in Los Angeles, where he was asked a few questions regarding WrestleMania's struggles with keeping up with the pace of ticket sales of last year. Well, the last 2 years, really, but of last year especially, because there's a direct comparison, because it's the same venue in the same city. So when asked what WWE thinks about not breaking records this year, Nick replied thusly: "We're feeling good. Last year we set records, which we set the year prior to that. So this year we think it's going to get close to that record, but fingers crossed." Now, he's not talking about, or he shouldn't be anyway, the sales of tickets records. What he's actually talking about is the box office records. So prices are, of course, a lot higher than they were last year. So even though they've sold like 20% less, fewer tickets, like for like day on day than last year, they'll be pretty high up there when it comes to box office takings for the weekend. Anyway, now the Sporting Tribune, as part of their write-up, then talked about how the overpriced tickets have been a big issue for WWE this year, as well as numerous discounts being offered this past couple of months to boost attendance. Now, the first quote that Nick Khan gave there, and I'll give a few more later, but that WWE and TKO were feeling good, I'm going to argue that they're not feeling that good and haven't been for a long time, despite them bringing in a ton of money, tens of millions in revenue just for the weekend. Now, they want to set records every year, does TKO and WWE? I'm sure they do. I mean, in their position, why wouldn't they? But WrestleMania 42's ultimate success isn't just gauged on how much revenue they bring in. They're also very, very interested in how the stadium looks on television. And also, they've got to announce the number at the end of it. And because I mean, they've been a publicly traded company since '99, but since TKO and UFC Endeavor and WWE merged, they've been a lot closer to the truth when it comes to the actual amount of tickets or amount of people, the turnstile count, whatever you want to use it. They've been a lot closer than they have been in the past. So they are very much of the opinion that not only is it a financial thing, they want it to look good on television to be a complete success. If they thought it was all about the money, I don't think they would have offered any discounts whatsoever because it was already pouring in. What's the difference? Anyway, that's why WWE, in a panic, so obviously they weren't that happy, held a multi-departmental meeting like a month or so ago in somewhat of a panic because somebody was hoping that somebody could figure out a way to start filling up these WrestleMania seats. It turns out that the ultimate plans WWE went with were, apart from bringing in Pat McAfee, which I'm going to mention again and again, was blacking out viewing parties in the Vegas area, so people would either have to stay in the hotel rooms and watch on the TVs or on the phones or whatever, or they'd have to buy tickets, which is what they wanted them to do. That wasn't the answer. And also offering many, many discounts also wasn't the answer. The blackouts were offensive to the patrons and the venues as well, especially considering the city of Las Vegas paid big money to bring WWE in to boost tourism to the town. And also, all the discounts did was get fans to perceive that they weren't selling as many tickets because the show wasn't as good as last year, and also the discounts weren't good enough. 20% here or 25% there is still not enough to entice a lot of fans who are on the fence, where a 50% discount would have actually just reduced the price enough to where the ticket prices were the year before. Now, on the topic of ticket prices, Nick Khan said this: the marketplace dictates the ticket price, before noting that even lower price tickets can quickly be resold at higher rates, underscoring continued consumer demand. Now, that's not strictly true either in this respect specifically. Now, yes, a way to gauge how much to charge for tickets is, of course, demand, but also the resale market. Now, if you're selling a ticket for $100, but scalpers are buying them all up and selling them hand over fist at $500 and they're getting snapped up immediately, then yes, you know you're underselling your tickets. But it's pretty obvious to me that TKO dictated the ticket price this year, because I cannot imagine that an algorithm out there that they would have used had told them that, hey, we didn't quite sell out last year at the incredibly expensive ticket prices we set, so what we should do this year is double the ticket prices. That'll help us sell out. No, I'm not buying that for a minute. Common sense dictates that was a bad idea from the off, and I think a lot of people realise that. You can't just keep doubling the prices, they're in Vegas, double down, but you can't just keep doubling the prices expecting the same attendance every year. You also can't double the prices in a depressed economy while running the exact same venue you did the year before, because you've already kind of burnt out the city, really. Even though it's a tourism city, you still can burn it out by going there too much. Now, with the added negative of having a far less marketable main event as well. I mean, last year they had heel John Cena in the main event. This year we have heel Pat McAfee. So there's really not really much of a comparison at all. Still, this might be the wake-up call that TKO and WWE bosses need to realise that they cannot run Vegas semi-regularly, which is actually what they intended on doing, if you remember this, when they took over back in 2023. Like every other year, they were thinking WrestleMania could be in Vegas year one, wherever it is you know what it probably ended up being? Vegas year one, Saudi Arabia year two, Vegas year three, Saudi Arabia year four. I'm suspecting that's kind of where they were going with that one, if they could have got away with it, if it weren't for those pesky fans. Now, Vegas... And the other reason they want it in Vegas 2 years in a row, and probably more years in a row as well, is that Vegas is pretty much now exclusively a rich man's playground, and many TKO executives are based in Vegas. So really, it was just for their own convenience. Now, later on, Nick Khan also confirmed that WrestleMania 43 will still be held in Saudi Arabia, or at least that's the plan for now, because, you know, there's a war on still. But now there is actually no planned jaunt to Saudi, or should I say, there's no announced jaunt to Saudi Arabia in June or July. In fact, no PLEs have been announced at all for that time period, even though SummerSlam is announced for August and Money in the Bank is announced for September. Everybody's just kind of biding their time, waiting and wondering whether the conflict in Iran will cool off enough, or in the Middle East in general enough, so it's not that likely a missile might come over and blow whatever makeshift stadium they've knocked up in the car park in 4 weeks this time. So anyway, here's another quote. "We're doing WrestleMania next year in Saudi," Khan boasted. "First time ever WrestleMania will be outside the US or Canada, and we've had a big, fruitful partnership with them." Well, fruitful indeed it was. Khan said that the company has learned from that global fans will follow the products regardless of location, driven by media distribution and growing international interest, which is also true, but kind of a heartless way of putting it. It's almost like, well, you know, it doesn't matter where we are, WWE fans will follow us. Quote, "When we go, it doesn't have to be only here in America," Khan said. "Our fans will tune in no matter where we go." Now, that is kind of obvious, but that's been obvious for quite a while now, because pay-per-views haven't really been a thing in WWE since 2014, domestically speaking. That it didn't particularly matter when a major show was broadcast, because people could watch it live or at their leisure later on in the day or later in the week or wherever it might be. Now, this brings up the point of why the UK just couldn't have a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam over here. But even American fans would have loved to have seen a Wembley SummerSlam, considering that 1992 was such a core memory of wrestling fans who were watching at the time. And even after, I mean, it's a core memory for me, and I watched it after the fact because it was an absolutely wonderful show, one of the best pay-per-views, major shows that WWE has ever put on. And a large part of it was because it was in Wembley. It was in the UK, where there was still at the time a really starved market of ravenous wrestling fans that weren't getting served as much as they wanted to be. But no, they wouldn't do that, of course. Khan also, and I will talk about that again in a minute, Khan also downplayed criticism surrounding WWE's Saudi Arabia events, describing negative feedback as, quote, "a vocal minority," and reiterating that company decisions are driven by ratings, revenue, and relevancy. Once again, vocal minority, I'm going to use this word time and again. One, you're lying. Two, you're delusional. Because I guess a vocal minority in Nick Khan's mind is the vast majority of our fans haven't got podcasts or YouTube channels to complain about it. But my feeling is that even though WWE and the Saudis have been working together now, hand in glove, for the past 8 years, aside from that brief time Vince McMahon and the executives left in one plane and then left the other wrestlers to face the music and stay stranded on the tarmac in the airport for over a day, I still think the majority of fans don't like it, and they kind of just feel like at this point it's not going to change. They just have to accept it. Now, leaving out the usual human rights abuses, the other reason most fans don't like these Saudi Arabian based shows is because they have by and large been kind of dreadful, or kind of just nothing shows really, with just a few exceptions, most of them happening recently at least. They were glorified house shows in the first few years, and they also featured some of the weirdest matches and the most inconsequential booking of all the major shows WWE put on. And the fans there at the time weren't that loud either, making for a tempered atmosphere, you might say. Saudi Arabian fans, the last few shows have been a lot louder, actually, in fairness to them. Now, even this year's Royal Rumble, which is also in Saudi Arabia, would have been so much better stateside than it was in Saudi, because if nothing else, you would have been actually able to see the fans, because they didn't have those weird light boxes sort of somehow blurring them out. It was a really weird effect they managed to achieve somehow. Now, if nothing else, you would have been able to also, you know, more people would have cared about the debut of Royce Keys, the El Grande Americano face-off, the fact that the women wouldn't have to wear wetsuits wrestling. I mean, it would have come across much better, I think, especially a lot of these debuts or, you know, these continuations as stories. Now, let's read that last quote by Nick Khan again. "Company decisions are driven by ratings, revenue, and relevancy." That's bullshit, and Nick Khan either knows it or he truly is delusional. Now, WrestleMania 42 is back in Vegas because, well, actually, it was originally promised to New Orleans, but Vegas paid more, and it's convenient for the TKO executives. So it's not exactly anything to do with relevancy or ratings, but it has everything to do with revenue. WrestleMania 43 is in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, purely because of the money, not because of the ratings, and absolutely not because of the relevancy. Because the Royal Rumble this year, I don't think they even sold close to the 25,000 tickets available at the time, And those tickets were at very, very low prices, by the way, especially compared to what they're selling in the US just for a basic SmackDown or Raw, let alone a WrestleMania. Now, they would have sold out in the UK, they would have sold out in Western Europe, they would have sold out in Australia in hours, they would have sold out in the States and Canada. At least 25,000 seats they would have sold out in hours. But it is not about ratings or relevancy here. It's about chasing the almighty green, no matter the source. Don't ever get this confused. WWE will be holding WrestleMania 43 in Saudi Arabia, if there isn't a war on, by the way, over long-standing international strongholds like the UK and Germany, for example, because the Saudis are paying ridiculously over the odds. That's why, no other reason at all. I genuinely don't think many fans will fly over to Saudi Arabia from the States or even Europe. I believe the vast majority of international fans who do go over will probably come from India, maybe, where WWE is still pretty big. But once again, that's all going to be predicated on whether there's still a massive war happening in the area. So one more point I want to make is actually I'm bringing up Booker T's point about how short-sighted the nature of holding WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia is. It'll affect the ecosystem of the other wrestling shows, conventions, and whatnot that have their years kind of made by becoming satellite attractions during WrestleMania week. This is what Booker T said. It's going to be crazy, man. No WrestleCon. That's what a lot of guys are really ticked off about. That WrestleCon is going to be preempted for 2 big shows. But hey, I get it. It's all about dollars and cents. At the end of the day, it is about the talent and being able to create a lot of revenue to pay these guys. So for me, I get it. For the people that's upset, I understand their gripe. But for me as a businessman, this is what I say. What will you do? The veteran asked. Here's some kind of closing points, really. When Nick Khan tells you that TKO are happy with the ticket sales for WrestleMania, they clearly aren't. That's why they're holding meetings. That's why they're doing extreme things like having 1 million discounts, trying to